Hello guys, welcome back to a new video. Today, as a follow-up to the chameleon video, we're covering some snakes, like I teased last time. And to start off, this is the red spitting cobra, a venomous snake that lives in northeast Africa, and it is famous for spitting venom instead of just biting into its prey. However, this venom is used mainly for self-defense, because when it straightens its neck, like so, it's a warning sign, and if the aggressor ignores it, it will spit its venom out, usually aiming for the eyes, because if the venom gets in the eyes, it can blind the aggressor. So now we'll bring some water in to demonstrate how it can spit. So here we have some water, or the metaphorical venom that the cobra has. I absorbed it here, and now I will spit at my hand so this thing won't blind me. As you can see, my hand is wet with venom. I can do it again in case you didn't notice. So, here we go. Yeah, I can spit, and that's what this cobra is known for. Our next snake is known as the Diamondback rattlesnake. It lives in the southeast part of the USA, and despite living mostly in drier areas or just land areas, it can swim very well, and sometimes even gets over to neighboring islands. And when it feels threatened, it will rattle its signature tail like this. Okay, this is a pretty big snake. This is the red-tailed boa, with its Latin name being boa constrictor. And the second part of its name is quite fitting, as this is one of many constrictor snakes, meaning that with its muscular body, it wraps around its prey and squeezes so hard that the blood circulation collapses, and the prey dies. And you may have noticed that this boa is a two-headed one, and this is a rare mutation. That it is rare, though it generally happens every now and then in all snakes. But with this species, it is especially rare, mainly because two-headed snakes don't live long in the wild, because they have various coordination and health issues. As you know, two heads in one body. But so this is a rare mutation right here. And you may or may not have noticed that we hit a second snake here among those chestnuts. This one has a pretty wacky name of Boomslang. It lives across Africa and hides in trees, where it usually hunts chameleons and birds. And its bite can be lethal to humans if left untreated. Something is coming, it seems. And it seems like our poor Boomslang has been overthrown by the Reticulated python, one of the largest snakes in the world, with a proven length of 6 meters, and interestingly enough, here females are larger than males. And this snake lives in Southeast Asia, and it generally runs in the wild. However, sometimes it can slither its way into cities, and this is also a constrictor snake, meaning it isn't venomous, but instead squeezes its prey out of existence. This snake is pretty special. It is known as the yellow-lipped sea krait. I know, weird name. And it is highly venomous, but barely bites people due to its nocturnal activity, because during the day it rests on rocks and in cavernous crevices, and during the night it hunts for fish at sea where it swims, and using its paddle-like tail, as you can see here. And as I said earlier, it rarely encounters humans, so it isn't really a threat to us. This is the Indian cobra, another extremely venomous snake, and its bites regularly kill people in India, and as well as the surrounding countries. and you can recognize it by a special spectacle-like pattern on the back of its head. I mean this. And as I said, it regularly kills people, but regardless of that, it is considered sacred in Indian culture. This fellow is known as the blue coral snake, and it may just seem like your ordinary venomous snake, well, excluding the colors, but it has a special trait. That being, it hunts other venomous snakes too, mainly because its venom it works faster than the venom of other snakes, as it sprays it in large quantities. So other snakes are also threatened by this guy, and the colors are also quite unique. This is the Sunbeam snake, another snake that lives in Southeast Asia. A lot of snakes live there. And despite being smaller than the other constrictor snakes, it also wraps its body around the prey in order to cut off its blood circulation and kill it. This guy has a special trait, that being that its metallic skin, at least some of their scales, shimmer in rainbow colors under sunlight, which is from where the name came from. This poisonous snake is known as the adder, and it is one of the very few snakes that feels at home in the north, specifically in Europe. And the way how it survives and warms up in such a climate is that it spreads out its ribs so that it can occupy more space, so that more sunlight can be absorbed through its skin. Speaking of rib stretching, or actually rib compressing in this guy's case, this is the paradise tree snake, which, as I just mentioned, compresses its ribs, like so, and then catapults itself out and jumps, like as you've just seen. And it usually jumps from trees, and it rarely slithers. It mostly just leaps like so. It mostly jumps from trees, which is from where the name originated. The Indonesian pit viper made a musical introduction. This snake hunts mainly during the night, as during the day it rests on treetops. Depending on the regions, the colors can vary, as it can be green, turquoise, and even yellow. And this toy can also change color, but it is dependent on water, which we'll bring here in a second. Okay, so as I said, this thing can color change with water. So now that we brought said water, let's give it a shot, though it may not be visible due to the camera's quality and the lack of light. Anyways. Might be hard to notice, but it got brighter. So there you go. This venomous snake is known as the Saharan horned viper, though a secondary name also exists, the desert horned viper, but I personally prefer the first one as it is more specific and also indicates where this snake lives. It is instantly recognizable by those two little horns on its head, though hornless individuals also appear from time to time. And as to not get burns from the hot desert sand, this snake slithers sideways, though most of its time is spent resting in the shade. Okay, it's time for the last two snakes of this video. The San Francisco garter snake, which only lives in a certain area in California, specifically in wet areas where it hunts frogs, and the toy is supposed to change color, but it barely does, but we'll pour some water on it anyway. So it's supposed to get brighter, but it may or may not be visible. Anyways, this is the Western taipan, a snake so venomous that a single bite could theoretically kill 250 people. Luckily, this guy only lives in secluded areas in central Australia, so he isn't much of a threat to most people, except Australians, though. Okay, so now you can get a look at all of the snakes we talked about today. Just like one final look. I am very thankful for you coming here and watching this video till the end. Let me say that if I were to do a sequel to this, which I may or may not do, you can anyways, you can get one last look at the snakes that we talked about today. Comment down below which one was your favorite. Also, during this video, I hid 2 other toxic animals in the background whilst covering some of the snakes. So comment down below if you want a sequel and if you noticed any of those 2 animals. Anyways, thanks for watching. Here's some water, and goodbye. Have a nice day.